Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and JP's first son, Tim Hoey, will join us very shortly, hopefully very soon. He's with his son, Colin. There's Timmy boy. Timmy's there. It always looks cooler when you're in a car, right? Look at that scene, right? Remember Taxi Cab Confessions? Remember that show?
Yeah. Timmy driving the salt delivery truck right now.
Who's it? Does Colin have something he wants to confess to us, Timmy?
Oh. Yep. Colin's in the passenger seat. He might chime in on if he has some good commentary.
All right.
So
good.
Timmy, what we need to hear is how much salt have you sold today? Big salt day.
It's a good day to be Tim Hoey. Let me tell you that. I just got an order just to do an email. You know.
I think every day is a good day to be Tim Hoey.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
All right, boys, well, we have a great show for tonight, so let's get it started. Breaking news from the Grandstanders Live desk. I don't think all of us could be happier. Big Papi will be inducted into the Hall of Fame in July. Well deserved. 77.9% of the vote. He needed 75%. Clemens, Bonds, Schilling, they get under 75%. They'll be sitting it out. Look, Joe, in our lifetime, I consider him the greatest Boston Red Sox.
I do also, and I saw the tag end of Williams, and I saw all of Yaz's career, and all the other great players we've seen come and go from Fenway Park. But Papi stands out just on the clutch hitting alone in his postseason heroics. He can't. No one else touches him in my book.
Russ, what does what does Big Papi mean to you?
I think Joe mentioned it. Just if the history of the Red Sox was really them fading in the clutch, just not being able to pull out wins in 67 and 75 and 78 and big games, here's a guy who basically stood up and performed in the biggest games over and over and over again. So to me, that's the difference maker.
Timmy, Jim Rice is in the Hall of Fame. The impact that Jim Rice made on the Boston Red Sox and the impact that Big Papi made is not even close.
Not even close. Russ brought up a good point. He's a winner. He got the hits when we needed them. Yaz didn't. Yaz popped out the third that one. He got the hits the Red Sox never got. In extra innings, that the grand slam we all remember, the policeman with his arms up, and we were all at the game. But to me, I don't know why. Maybe because I was 8, 9 years old. Yaz kind of holds a special spot for me.
Well, we were blessed to have in our lifetime Tom Brady, Larry Bird, Bobby Orr, and Big Papi. I mean,
I can have Bill Russell.
And Bill Russell. And Big Papi was really our to be a middle-aged guy and to have a superhero that lives and breathes and that actually interacts with the public the way he did also. And that first game back from the marathon, we were all at that game. We saw what he did. He hugged everybody on that field, and there were thousands of people on that field, and he hugged every one of them. Then, of course, he gets up and makes that remarkable speech. Big Papi, we talk about athletes in this town, guys. Big Papi got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he sure did.
It wasn't just one year he was in the clutch. 03, 04, 13, you name it. Whenever they needed a clutch hit. Yeah, I think he is tied with Mickey Mantle for the most walk-off home runs of all time in the major leagues. And that doesn't include his postseason heroics.
Now, would you guys think in the steroid, all the stuff that's going on? I mean, the fact that A-Rod, and Clemens and Bonds are not in it. I think Big Papi's personality is what put him above that. I don't, if he didn't have just that oozing charisma and charm, I don't think he gets in.
Well, I think those guys will ultimately get in. And I do wish they did get in because I think, I know, don't want to gross you out, but it really does pop the pimple. You really stop the discussion if you just put those guys in and you move on. If you go to the Cooperstown Hall of Fame, they actually have an exhibit that addresses steroids. So they don't ignore it at the Hall of Fame, at the museum. Just put the freaking guys in and move on. What do you guys think?
You know what shocked me? What did A-Rod get? 33% of the votes? That's it?
Yeah, this was his first year of eligibility, I guess.
Right.
But I mean, he was a tremendous baseball player.
Yeah, but see, remember, A-Rod and Manny occupy a special place, the villainy around steroids, and that, they were told specifically, don't do this anymore. And they did it twice more and got busted for it after that point. Whereas that first round of guys, but what I didn't know, it was interesting yesterday. I guess I just missed it, where when Clemens and Bonds were first put on the ballot, people were on it for 15 years. And then during that course of time, it was changed to 10. And so they ended up only being on the ballot for 10 years, even though when they were first put on the ballot was 15. And I think one of the guys on Boston Sports Tonight mentioned last night that he thought, maybe it was Michael Hawley, said that if they were on the ballot for 5 more years, Scotty, I think they'd be in. That's the shame of it.
Well, I think it's a distinct possibility at some point the Veterans Committee.
Yeah, they'll get in the Veterans Committee, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah, it's not the same as getting
No, it's
voted
not.
in.
It's not.
No.
I know. Look, that's a flawed system that a guy like Buck O'Neill had to wait till he died to get in when he was such a great representative of the Negro League and Major League Baseball. So, and Pete Rose, before we change the subject, Pete Rose, he should be put in. That's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Well, Scotty, you have a special place for bettors anyway. So
It's
gamblers, you and Joe, right? Come on.
He gambled on where he's going to step next.
Russ, if he had killed somebody, he would have been out of prison by now. Compared to this, come
Absolutely.
on. I mean,
You can't bet against your own team. Can't do it.
I know. Enough. I know what he did. Enough's enough. Let the poor slob before he dies go into the Hall of Fame so he can stop profiting from not being in the Hall of Fame. The guy he actually signs the balls and stuff like I cheated on baseball or stupid shit like that. All right, we move on to the New England Patriots. We have to move on because we have so many needs. Guys, watching those playoff games this last weekend, and they were remarkable. We can talk about those. How far are we further away than we thought before the weekend, or are we further away?
I kind of feel like, look, that was an amazing game, and Kansas City played great, and Buffalo played great. Kansas City and Buffalo played some just dog crap games this year. But Buffalo lost to Jacksonville, right? So, I don't know. I didn't think we were that close to winning the Super Bowl to begin with, and I don't know that in the end of the day, that game made that much difference to me in determining where the Patriots are. It's just one game.
Joe, does it speak to you, those kind of games, that we need more offense or better defense?
We need a lot of everything. We need off the ball linebackers in the worst way.
Yes.
Wide receivers in the worst way.
Yes.
There's some glaring needs on that team, and they have to be addressed, whether through free agency or the draft. I think they've got a full draft with a couple extra, third, fourth rounds.
Yeah.
In the to address the linebackers, and plus they had 2 of their linebackers on injured reserve on here too.
Mm-hmm.
The rookie and the kid, the free agent they signed, both were on injured reserve all that. And that'll help. See, you can put the wide receivers up at the top of the list of the draft.
Well, Pro Football Focus, and I know Joe loves them, but I don't take them very seriously. They have Dante Hightower as the second-ranked linebacker free agent.
On the left, sure. No one's going to sign him for big money. All he can play is the middle now. He's a thumper. If you want someone for first and second down, hey, he's your man. But that's it. And he's liable to get injured. I can't see anyone paying big bucks, and he's not going to take a $2 million a year contract.
Timmy, we can't keep these old guys anymore, right? I mean, this would be very difficult to be able to comprehend that.
Yeah, you know what's funny though, Scotty? Our defense looked so good. I mean, it was against the weaker teams. I'll give you that, but they looked very, very good for a while there this year. The age, I guess, the speed. It's a league of speed, and you just have to have faster guys in that position right now than Dante Hightower.
And Russ,
His position's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with what Joe and Timmy said. We need speed. We need explosive athletes. We need explosive athletes on defense, especially at the linebacker, and we need an explosive athlete at wide receiver, period. And if you were to say, all right, what position should he draft? I would say draft the most explosive athlete you can at every given pick through the entire draft.
Yeah.
Just period.
Right. Yeah, just go to the combine. Look at whoever is the fastest in the combine.
All the bus guy, take him and hope of the ceiling.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Exactly. Do you know what a football looks like? Great. This is even better. I heard a great rumor that they're trying to get rid of Aguilar's contract, and that they actually would trade and give up like picks. It'd almost be like an NBA trade where they might give up Aguilar and a 4th round pick for a 7th round pick.
I would go with that, Paul. I think he's a bust, and I don't want to waste that money on that position.
No, I'm saying that's why they would try to trade him to free up cap space. Do you like that kind of trading down mentality?
It depends on what they do with the cap space, right? Like, I mean, that sounds great, but if that cap space just gets eaten up by 2 mediocre players or a friggin' special teams player, then I'd rather keep Aguilar. I mean, at least, I don't know. Like, I don't think he was like an epic, N'Keal Harry level bust. I don't think that Mac had a whole hell of a lot of time or inclination to throw the ball down the field to Aguilar. Like, I'd give that guy another year. I want another player in there, but I don't have a problem giving him another year if they can afford it.
And the key is to get Janu Smith going, because you cannot pay that much money on your cap for a player to block a blocking tight end.
Joe, couldn't Janu Smith sort of be like not as dominant as Deebo Samuel, but couldn't you be that he'd be the kind of guy you get the ball into space, just get him the ball 5 times a game in space and ask him just to do something with it.
Well, they did that. That's what they intended to do, but they never carried through. He was supposed to be the 8 guy, walking back, and then get him the ball on the jet sweeps and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe some tight end options, but they never followed through on it.
Did he Did he ever set up behind the Mac Jones?
Yes, quite often.
Yeah.
I'd say about 10% of the time every game.
Yeah.
As much as 20%, maybe once or twice. He would set up. They'd set up in that like 22 type setup.
Yeah, but I don't remember him ever getting the ball in the straight out pitcher handoff.
They usually save that stuff for direct. They save that stuff for Bourne this year mostly, right?
You got to get them going. You're not going to be able to dump them. I mean, I don't want to give draft picks up to dump Aguilar and Janu Smith. That sounds horrible to me. Bring more young players in.
But, we know our history of drafting wide receivers. It's almost like our only hope of getting receivers.
Don't get me started.
Well,
don't get me started.
Huge crop of free agent wide receivers. Now, free agent wide receivers are very expensive. Especially from Nelson Aguilar, got about to go right for a Nelson Aguilar type wide receiver. They're expensive, but there's going to be a lot of guys out there. Hey, one of the guys is the guy they tried to get a few years ago with Buffalo. Cole Beasley, I think, is a free agent.
No. We want to stay away from politically. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I agree.
Oh my God!
There's lots of guys out there that are going to be available. There's lots of deals. OBJ is available. He's a free agent.
How about Adams from the Packers? I'd love him.
He's a free agent.
Yeah. He'd be.
By the way, you know who kind of came on late was also another former Patriot is Braxton Berrios, who's a unrestricted free agent this year.
Oh, he is.
What is Aguilar's salary?
Like 12 million?
12 million, something like that. Yeah.
All guaranteed, I think, pretty much guaranteed. Yeah, I mean that was a weird contract when they signed him. There were other guys they could have gotten who would have been a lot cheaper and would have ended up productive. I think Davis, who ended up with the Jets, had a really good season that a lot of Patriot fans had him penciled in for the Patriots. Look, there's going to be a lot of maneuvering going on. The first offseason with Mac Jones was just the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Belichick always says the biggest jump a player makes, this is when you know he's a professional. They make that huge jump from the first year to the second year. That's when the biggest jump in a learning curve is for a true professional. So Mac is a true professional. We're going to see greatly improve.
He's going to improve. I totally agree. He's going to be a top 10 quarterback for the next 5 or 7 years. Yeah, that's what I think.
That'd be nice on the sheet.
So first of all, you know my love for Jimmy G, but nobody played a worse quarterback in the NFL this year than him in that division round game. Every pass he tried to throw, it looked like he was going to be intercepted. How did they win that game?
I don't care.
They won.
I am just so happy that Aaron Rodgers lost. That just delighted me.
They won the game, to Timmy's point. They won the game because, Rodgers was mediocre, and they blew it on special teams. They gave up 10 points on special teams. They blew a field goal, and they got a punt return for a touchdown. As we said, which game was that? I can't remember which game. How many games do you win when you give up a touchdown on special teams? A punt return, a block punt. And it's got to be 20% of the time.
Yeah, you had said that during the season when the Patriots gave it up.
It's impossible to win those games.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah. But Jimmy G, we thought that Jimmy G could be the future here if the Patriots had acquired him. The answer is Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Jimmy G.
Some more than others thought Jimmy G.
But Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Jimmy G moving forward.
Not right now, he's not.
You don't think so?
No, not even close. Maybe next year he will be. Not now. This year he wasn't.
Jimmy,
not even close.
Look, I feel more positive about Mac Jones after watching some really bad quarterback play in the playoffs. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I think. I think that he's gonna get better. To Joe's point, he's gonna make a big improvement, and it almost doesn't matter what he did this year. It's about what he does next year. You know?
Is it rookies don't do anything? How many rookies are in the playoffs? 0 right now, right? Joe Burrow is an exception, being a second year guy, a great exception. There's very few guys in the second year in there. Burrow is the real deal, though.
What worries me is that the 3 quarterbacks that we have to get through now: Mahomes, Burrow, and the Buffalo team. And Allen. Those are 3 spectacular quarterbacks.
Oh yeah.
On his best day, Mac will never be as good as any of those guys.
Well, I think you could get to Burrow. I wouldn't be surprised, Joe, if he got up to sort of the sniffing Burrow level, right? He's never going to get to
Burrow's only a young guy now too, and he's
sure. But I don't know. I think let's see how they develop.
What scares me about Allen in Buffalo, and this is why I don't think we're going to be able to get past him for a few years. It's 3rd and 3. He can run for it 99% of the time to get that first down.
And you still have to defend the pass because then he throws it when you come in on him.
Look,
he's almost unstoppable at times.
It's been proven these running quarterbacks don't have great longevity in the NFL.
But he's a bigger guy, though, Scotty, than a lot of those runners.
He's big like Cam Newton. Cam didn't last either.
He didn't last either. I totally agree with that, Joe. We sit here, he's 6'5", 240.
But Cam never had
this guy.
But Cam never had the arm of this guy.
But Cam took a beating. This guy's going to take a beating. If you run him on 3rd and 3 4 times a game.
Cam always got by on his size all through his life, so he never learned to be evasive. Whereas Allen is evasive, Mahomes is evasive, They avoid a lot of hits, like Tom Brady did. That adds longevity to your career.
Oh, that's a great segue, Joe, into the Tom Brady era. That was a pretty exciting game. Literally, the Rams were shitting on themselves in the second half. It was definitely different. At one point, it was 27-3, and obviously Tampa Bay tied it up. And however, this was a different kind of game than our 28-3 game.
Because
Rams really deteriorated quickly.
Yeah, they basically handed that game back to the Bucs. I mean, Brady didn't will his way into it. They just kind of handed it back to the Bucs.
Yeah, it was turnovers and sloppy play that. Whereas Atlanta just did it by being stupid and trying to run the ball, run the clock out.
I mean, Brady did take advantage of his chances, though, which was amazing. A lot of guys wouldn't have taken advantage of those situations, but he did.
Well, we know Tom Brady does not like to be hit, and Aaron Donald likes to hit Tom Brady. So that was a real bad combination. Boys, I'm going to tell you something. We had that text thread going. I think Tom Brady retires. I think he's done. I think that he's
making those noises.
Yeah,
he certainly is.
What do you guys?
He's saying things he's never said before.
So Timmy,
I think Tampa Bay is all done now. Half that team is free agents, and they're not coming back.
All right, Timmy, let's go around. Tom Brady retire, or does he play next year? And let's make a caveat: if he plays, does he play with the Buccaneers?
I think if he plays with the Bucs under contract. I believe he'd have to play with the Bucs. I'm saying 75% he's done from reading the tea leaves from what he has been saying. But you know what's funny? The NFL guys spend more time with their families than any other sport. They don't leave until Saturday morning for the away games. They're home for dinner every night after practice. So I'd be surprised. He'd be away from his family doing business if he did retire. I have a feeling.
All right, Russell, what's your feeling?
I think it's more like 50-50. I agree with Joe. He's only coming back to play NFL football next year if he thinks he can win a Super Bowl. It doesn't look like Tampa Bay is going to have a team that can win a Super Bowl, which would suggest either he retires or he maneuvers himself to another team that can win the Super Bowl. Like, I think there's just as good of a chance that he gets. I think it's 50% he retires and 50% not. But I think there's a 25% chance that he maneuvers himself to some team he thinks can win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So who do you think fits that bill?
Okay.
You don't get Aaron Rodgers.
San Francisco 49ers.
There's two jump out. They're both in the two teams jump out. One would be San Francisco because of his hometown. What about Tennessee? I mean, their quarterback just crapped the bed.
Yeah.
They're number one.
Isn't that the one he said that about? That supposedly it was. I
don't know.
They're going to go with that. Jamal, remember when that coach? Everyone was wondering who it was. Supposedly Tannehill.
They were number one seed, and he knows he's a good friend with Vrabel.
Yeah,
and he could walk in there and say, can we adjust this offense? Can we adjust this offense, to take advantage of where I am? And Vrabel would probably be like, yeah, because if Vrabel doesn't get himself into a Super Bowl in the next couple of years, Vrabel's gone. Vrabel could be the next coach of the New England Patriots for all we know.
You couldn't ask for better receivers than A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. And you bring the Rock along for your binky.
And Derrick Henry at running back. I mean,
he makes the play action so simple. He never get touched.
Yeah, kind of pathetic though, chasing a crown there.
I don't know. I mean, I don't blame him if he, if he's going to put him 45-year-old body through the paces like that, he should be thinking about, I only want to do it if I can win a Super Bowl. What's he going to prove going to Tampa and going? What's it prove going to Tampa and going 9-8 and 10-7 and getting knocked out in the first round again? It doesn't prove anything.
We do that. And Gronk will probably retire, his center is a free agent. You know how he loves his centers.
Yeah.
And half his receivers are going to be gone unless they get tagged.
I-
Godwin.
What about going to Indianapolis? He could go to Indianapolis, play in the dome. That team was a quarterback away from being in, the AFC Championship game.
Wentz was the worst quarterback in the league, practically.
Right.
I could not live with seeing Brady in a Colts uniform, though. I really.
It would be terrible.
I could see him playing for Vrabel, but I would understand that. I just couldn't swallow him with the Colts. I always root for him now. I couldn't root for him with the Colts.
I think the only, there's such a storyline if he goes back to home to San Francisco and stuff. I can see that. And then
that's a great story.
And replaces Jimmy G, which
he'd love that.
He would love that too. He's got the young court. Yeah, that seems like the best fit. Otherwise, he retires, I think. And also, he's probably really sick of Bruce Arians. I just watch when I see Bruce Arians on the sideline, and I'm sick of him. So I can only imagine what Bruce, that actor wants.
If everyone leaves that team, including Tom, Bruce will say, well, geez, I've got some health issues. I think I'll retire.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
Bruce isn't going to sit through a 6-11 season.
No, he's not.
What is that thing he carries around his neck? Is that a health device?
It's one of those, if I've fallen and I can't get up devices, Timmy.
I don't know what it is. Is that the way he's communicating with upstairs?
I thought it was like a heart monitor or something.
He does have a heart monitor.
There must be, right? It has to be, right? Because it's bizarre looking.
I'm surprised he doesn't have a walker with him while he's out there too.
Well, he could do a commercial for whatever he's doing. Him and Joe Namath, they can wrestle.
So, speaking of coaches, Scotty, a friend of mine just texted me this little dispatch from Sports Illustrated that suggests that Josh blew himself up with the Las Vegas Raiders, and he's not in contention.
Elliott Wolf went from the front runners to the trash heap like overnight. They did something, the two of them, and they must have demanded the sky. Davis isn't going to give him nothing.
Oh, so Josh doesn't. So Josh doesn't interview well, clearly. Yeah.
Well, they probably asked for Gruden money, and they said, no, he was a star.
Yeah, right.
By the way, guys, we are playing in Vegas next year.
Oh my God.
Patriots have a road game in Vegas next year. They haven't announced the date, but that might call for a road trip.
The biggest mass exodus since World War II. Let's all go there, right? Oh my! Can you imagine?
Yes, it's already been announced that they have a road game in Vegas.
Easy 30,000 people. Easy 30,000 New Englanders will be at that game.
Vegas will never have a home advantage in that town.
No, for sure. I mean, nobody
Are you saying Massachusetts people gamble a lot, Scott?
Just a tiny bit.
No, they just want to go. That's a great place to follow. Nashville, Tennessee, Miami. These are the towns people want to go to. New Orleans. These are the towns people want to go to.
Hey, it's free beer. It's just the free beer.
All right, boys, we go to the Celtics. People always get excited when they win games, and then they get depressed when they lose games. It's called the 500 team. I don't know what else to say.
Well, Scotty, the argument with that is they finally had their real starting group out there, and the numbers back that up. What is it, plus 21?
Yeah.
When they have the starting group in there.
Yeah. You got
Philly in them and do it.
Yeah, I'm with Scotty. I now am like, that's fine. And they've had 2 nice games, but that 2 nice games came after another worst loss of the season against the Trailblazers. I need to see like 8 more games. They don't have to win all 8, but I want to see 8 more games of them, full team looking competent. And if you lose to a couple of better teams and you go 6-2, but you play like 8 more competent games, then I'll start to believe. Otherwise, this is just win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 1, lose another.
The hard part is they tease us, they show what they're capable of. And then they just go for nappy nap time on defense and intensity and that gets us frustrated.
Well, look, other teams they like to copy other teams, and Chicago Bulls are having a very successful season, and they surprised a lot of teams last year as they were buyers during at the deadline, and everyone's like, well, what are they doing? Well, they were preparing for this season. Do you use that Chicago Bulls playbook where you don't sell, you buy, but you make the opportunity that you're buying for not just this season, but for moving forward?
Yeah. I mean, a perfect example of that would be you turn Schroeder, who you won't re-sign, into a guy who has 2 years left. A younger guy's got 2 years left in his contract, right? You could do the similar thing with Josh Richardson, who's been very good. With Josh Richardson he's a solution, not a problem on this team. But if you can turn Josh Richardson's 2 years into 2 years for a 26-year-old player, then that's what they should be doing, and bulking up on guys who are basically the same age as Brown and Tatum.
Get something for Schroeder. You're not going to get anything for.
Then get picks for that.
Yeah,
right.
A couple of second-round picks and some ammunition and a bigger trade.
Yeah, they're not going to get They're not going to get a first-round pick for Schroeder.
No.
He's lost his value. Would you say if they 2 months ago, I think they could have done a lot better.
Yeah, I don't think they were ever though going to get a first-round pick. I think you could get a first-round pick, a second-round pick, or like I said, you could get a guy who's towards the end of his rookie contract and didn't pan out. A little bit of a distressed asset.
Or a foreign player that's being stashed by one of these teams.
Something like that, yeah. An asset. All you can do is look for an asset there.
Yeah.
To go with Scott's point, you build a few assets and maybe in this offseason you pull the trigger for the real deal.
That's right.
Going forward.
That's right. Yeah.
Everybody's hoping to find that unknown European, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well,
they're pretty much known nowadays.
But Luka wasn't unknown. He just wasn't the number one pick in the draft. Or what was he, number 3? So or 4. He was definitely a commodity. Got to give credit to the professor. That's why you watched your show a couple of weeks ago. You were the first one to bring up Jalen Brunson as a possible fit for the Celtics, and now all of a sudden I'm hearing Jalen Brunson rumors all over.
He's the ideal guy. If indeed you have, here's the spot that Brad is in. If he hasn't already made the decision that Smart isn't your point guard of the future, he's only got 7 more games to make that decision, at least for this year, because that's 7 more games until the deadline. And if you think that he's not that player, you got to get him out of here, because the only way he's valuable to the Celtics long term is as a point guard. He cannot play. He's shown he cannot play off guard. Period.
No,
he takes too many shots. He's got a chance at being a point guard. The last couple of games will show you that. But you get a Jalen Brunson in here, you got to move Smart out in that deal or in another deal.
It was like Smart started passing the ball when he's not going to shoot the ball until after the trading deadline, and then he's going to start shooting. Right?
That's the danger, right?
That's exactly right. Because Marcus Smart, we love him. He wants to stay with the Celtics, Joe.
But it's also a fact that Brunson's a worse shooter than Smart.
No, I don't think so, Joe. I mean,
points. He doesn't take many.
Well, that's
a pass first guy.
That's fine. That's what I want. I don't need our point guard taking shots unless he's a really good shooter, right?
If you got to be able to develop his own shot if need be.
Joe, if you had a good point guard who could shoot well, it's called Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They're a top 10 player if they can do that.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Paul, I don't exactly want to take. I consider Chris Paul one of the best point guards, but I don't want him taking any shots.
Russell Westbrook might be available.
No.
Get rid of him fast enough in LA.
47 million a year.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't play linebacker for the Patriots.
My God. 47 million a year.
So Robert Parrish, he's alive. God bless him. We love Parrish. And he spoke up. he spoke up this week, which I thought was, I don't know whether it was planned, who knows. And he said that the two Jays don't make any other players better.
I agree.
That's very interesting.
There was a, yeah.
We saw Danny Ainge made Larry Bird better. Larry Bird made Kevin McHale better. Kevin McHale made Robert Parrish better. Right? I don't see that with this team.
Well,
yeah, it's a challenge. Look, Tatum's passing has been better this year. His assists are up. His rebounding's been better. In some ways, it's been good that he hasn't been shooting it well from three because it's made him go to the basket. So Brown is just not. Brown's assist to turnover ratio is 1-to-1. I mean, that is just atrocious, and he's not a good passer. And so I think if those guys, to your point, Timmy, if those guys aren't making each other better, you need somebody there whose only job it is to make them better and everyone else better.
Yeah,
right.
A pass first guy. Rondo.
Yeah.
Rondo. Colin just said Rondo.
Yeah. About 10 years ago, from 10 years ago. I mean, look, the guy, and we made fun of him on the show a zillion times, but the type of player is Gordon Hayward, is a connective, is a guy who's just a connector on offense. And that's the shame of that Hayward got injured, early on and never became that guy, because that's the kind of guy is you just need guys to connect other players in the team and make them better.
But I would argue that the Jays are not only not making anyone better, that they're stunting the growth of the young players.
And of themselves.
Well, no, I mean, they're all about their individual statistics. Jaylen Brown's very comfortable now, wants to score 30 and 40 points, and then Jason Tatum likes to score 50 points. They don't care who wins.
I don't believe that. I actually don't believe that they don't care who wins. I don't, but I don't think that, I think that they have been programmed from birth as scorers, period. That's what they know how to do. That's what they spent 20 something years doing with a basketball in their hand, is scoring the basketball. And it's hard to change those guys.
And every veteran who came through, they told them it's a marathon, not a sprint. So
the headline Brown scores 30, Celtics win. Tatum scores 51, Celtics win. That's what gets you the headline, is how many points you get.
But Udoka came in here with the idea that he was going to be tougher with the Jays. That's what they were selling, correct? They were selling that, and that has not panned out.
I don't know how.
Yeah, what they were selling, what they thought was actually going to happen. Two different things.
The team has been. They're paying the price for Danny Ainge's mismanagement over the last 3 years of his GM-ship. I mean, you can blame Udoka, you can blame Tatum, you can blame Brown and all that other stuff. Problem is, there just aren't good enough players around them. They don't shoot. They're 22nd in the NBA in three-point percentage, 25th in assist percentage. The ball doesn't move. They don't shoot well enough. They need shooters, and that's the thing that was so frustrating with Ainge, is that at every turn, he passed on bringing in, the Kyle Korver types, the Buddy Hield types, the guys who just do that one thing incredibly well. And now guess what? We don't have enough guys who can shoot around these guys.
Yeah.
And then, you said that Robert Williams coming along fine, got a lot of hops.
Right.
But he can't score from further than 1 foot from the basket.
Right.
I thought it was funny. Parrish said also that Rob Williams needs a mentor. Huh. I wonder.
You might want to get hired.
Okay. Looks like somebody's investments didn't go as well as they had hoped.
that weed plantation, the crop must have gone bad or something.
Right.
Yeah, right. All right, boy.
McHale used to do it for a living, so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, clearly Robert Parrish needs to get into the salt business, right, Timmy?
Only when it's snowing. You don't want to be in it when it's not snowing.
You always know how to put a smile on Timmy's face, don't you? Yeah. All right, boys. I want to go to the Red Sox. First of all, I'm hearing things that maybe, just maybe, seeing that you guys all saw those bills on your credit card, right, this week from the Boston Red Sox, that just maybe the season's going to start on time. How exciting would that be?
What's
April
the big,
baseball games. Can't wait.
What's the big hurdle? I know April in the rain.
No,
No,
actually,
they want expanded playoffs.
opening
We are
day.
undercover.
Opening day, we play Tampa, and instead of playing Tampa in a stadium, indoor stadium, March 31st, we play them at home.
Who are these geniuses that make these schedules? I mean, why wouldn't you spend the whole first month playing in Florida? You know,
Right.
Why does anyone think you could play baseball on March 31st in Boston, Massachusetts?
hopefully it's snowing. For my sake, hopefully it's snowing.
Well, it might, we might be getting money back on that because one of the proposals is for the expanded playoffs, they would make it a 154 game season.
Is that right?
That's the players want that, and the owners want that, but the owners want the expanded playoffs because they get all the money from the playoffs.
Joe, how do the traditionalists deal with that? That affects a lot of records and things like that, doesn't it?
Well, they would say, fuck them. They're not paying the price. They're not buying tickets.
Yeah, right. The traditionalists. So I sent you guys a tweet, Yahoo Sports. I don't know if they're a bunch of Yahoos. I don't know how much credibility we can give them, but they said that Suzuki is coming to the Red Sox.
You got me all excited, Scott.
Now, Chaim Bloom, he thinks these things out, boys, and he rushed in the deadline before they could stop trading to get rid of Hunter Renfroe, and he got
he needs to be replaced.
And I have to believe he did that, thinking that the percentage of chance going to acquire Suzuki was quite high. This would kind of make sense, Russ, on why he pulled the trigger on that deal.
Yeah, I mean, pretty clearly saw that Renfroe was a replaceable player, and he may have the inside track on a replacement, and he took a chance. It was a pretty good bet, sounds like. So, I mean, that would be fantastic. You remember, we got a couple of prospects for Renfroe, plus who'd we get back for Renfroe?
No, Benelis, this guy Benelis and Hamilton.
No, but we got a veteran.
JBJ.
Oh,
no,
we got JBJ back. Yeah.
Yo.
So, like he gets a couple of prospects, and then he signs a guy who doesn't cost him anything trade wise. That's a good bit of business.
Yeah.
Bring a positional player, Joe, from Japan. Oh, does that add to the excitement level of this?
I must love that. That's a big market thing he couldn't have done down in Tampa.
Yeah.
That's the kind of deal he wasn't allowed to do down in Tampa, where get something for free. Just cost him the owner's money.
But Timmy, the excitement level, Timmy, just gets amped up.
Yeah, it's always interesting to have a guy like that, and everything that comes with them. Now you got the whole Japanese press corps over here. They probably won't follow him like they follow Dice King. I mean, it's not the same. That was a big deal when that happened.
It's still a big deal.
I wonder what I'd love to see the graphic of what that turns into dollars wise from the Japanese market when you're getting. Is he a huge star in Japan?
Still, he's
No,
like,
sorry about Suzuki.
still like Big Papi.
No, Timmy's asking about Suzuki. Timmy, I think the answer is that.
Who are you talking about? I thought that's who we were talking about.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
That's
Daisuke is still a big star, but Suzuki is like, one of the top 5 guys in the Japanese leagues.
Yeah. Look, and they don't have to give up any prospects. All they have to do is give up money. And also the most important thing, they become athletic. This is not an athletic team.
Well, we become not athletic. We become a little less non-athletic. I mean, we're still really not an athletic team.
But if you acquire Suzuki, again, this is just hopeful. We're being hopeful here, and re-sign Schwarber, all of a sudden you looks like, and this Suzuki pans out at all, you have a hell of a lineup.
Yeah, I mean, you remember the lineup.
Where are you putting Schwarber in that situation?
What's that?
Where are you putting Schwarber as the DH? Getting rid of
no, Schwarber's going to play left field a lot, right? I mean, he would play. I assume who's going to Verdugo would play center at times, right? I mean, JBJ.
I thought Kike would be playing center.
Where's Kike playing?
Verdugo on left, right?
I think Kike ends up at second.
Really? You don't like him in
He
center,
didn't
Scotty?
play well when he was at second, though.
Well, first of all, who's your second baseman? Who is it? Name a
No
second
one right now.
Name
That's
the
their
second
big
baseman of the
hole.
Boston Red Sox. So wouldn't you
That's
rather
their
have?
big hole.
Would you have Suzuki, Verdugo, Schwarber, Kiki at second base, and Martinez DH?
I thought your buddy Yorkie, whatever his name is, they're down in the.
No. He's a year or two away. I mean, he's lucky he'll get to Portland. Russ, chime in here. I mean, doesn't that end up?
Well, they've also talked about bringing back. It's been my baseball mind's not in shape. Who's the Cuban guy that started his career with us that you loved last year? Iglesias, right? So you could bring him back inexpensively and put him at second base. You'd upgrade your defense a lot.
Right, but
boy, Kike was such a good center fielder. I hate to take him out of that mix.
If you bring Schwarber,
when he was playing there too.
But if you bring Schwarber and Suzuki back, Kiki's going to second.
Well, no, of course. My point is like I worry like Schwarber, Hernandez, Devers, Bogart. Like you got these big plodding guys who just start.
I know Timmy's not going to like this, but if you trade JD.
I'm the one who's been saying I think the play is trade JD for some pitching and sign Schwarber, and this whole thing makes sense to me.
I like that.
Well, that depends on what pitcher you get. I would want something significant for my boy JD to head out of town.
Well, needless to say, and I think this is already agreed upon, the DH is going to the National League. So that adds a huge value.
That's the other thing. The owners are offering the 154 game season, which the players like, and they're offering the universal DH, which the players like because it's more jobs.
Yeah.
So the players like those things. That's what they're trying to trade for the expanded playoffs, which the players don't like because they don't get any money from the playoffs.
You know what? I just can't get over. This is the reason I don't want JD gone. I just fell in love with JD batting sixth. It just makes it such a dangerous lineup, and I don't see anyone else putting that much pop into the sixth spot like Martinez brings to that spot.
Yeah, but it's also that's a great point, Timmy. But it's also who you can acquire if you can get a top relief pitcher or a third starter. And you're going to still pencil in someone who like a Schwarber who's going to do quite well. I think it's well worth it, seeing that JD's only going to be on the team for one more year.
Schwarber was as nice at batting number 2 as JD was batting number 6. They both had great. They were the right fit.
Yeah, if you have Bobby Dahlbeck in first base, Kiki at second, Xander at short, Devers at third, Vasquez as catcher, and then you have Schwarber, Verdugo, and Suzuki. Yeah, you probably need. I don't know, not very athletic, more like a softball team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we know with these games in the playoffs where they're 4-3, 5-4, there's no manufacturing runs with that lineup.
Right.
No, but it's a good line. It's a good offensive lineup we got.
Right. Well, are you guys excited, boys? Especially if they come to an agreement.
Yeah, they have to come to an agreement. They're just this sport just has just shot itself in the foot, in the face, in the chest over and over and over again. So once again, an entire off season, the whole hot stove league, free agents, trades is just gone, and they're going to expect everyone just to pick up baseball in April. Like you've been out of the news for. You think about the NBA and the NFL, they are 365-day leagues every day, podcasts, news, all year long, maybe a few weeks off each, but that's it. Baseball just like.
When was the last time you were this excited for a Red Sox season to get going?
Oh, well, we're very excited, but
I haven't.
How'd you like to be a salesman selling season tickets at almost every park in baseball? They can't move anything. They got usually have all the free advertising, the hype of the off season, the hot stove league. They got nothing. They can't sell nothing.
Oh, look, every year we have a new account executive. In fact, we have a new one now this year too. So clearly those are not good positions because you think you'd want to work for the Red Sox. But yeah, that's very difficult. Look, guys, Russ made a great point. Trade rumors, hot stove, that was all exclusive to Major League Baseball for our whole life. Now the NBA has perfected it. Well, we're talking about NBA trades 365 days a year, and we're never talking about Major League Baseball trades.
No.
Zero. So they went from all the time to none of the time. It's all got to be about Manfred. Manfred needs to go when all this shakes out.
Oh, I like to see him going. He's done nothing for the game except hurt it.
Yeah, it's just sclerotic leadership, just not creative at all. And they put their head in the sand on the problems that this game has. And if they keep doing it, they're going to wake up, and we're going to be among the younger fans they have. Which is ridiculous.
I know.
Take a look at us.
And look like a Masons meeting at a.
Yeah.
Right. Like bunch of 80-year-old guys with walkers walking around.
Nothing is more enjoyable than being there at Fenway Park for playoffs. Nothing is more fun than that.
Ton of fun. Yeah. Ton of fun. That was a blast last year.
Oh
yeah.
my
and now they're screwing it up. We're all excited for this year to get going, and now.
Yeah, they're gonna mess it up. All right, we go to the Bruins.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, are we talking Tuca?
Is it is it illegal to rag on Tuca because he's like working for minimum wage?
No, he should be doing this down. If he's gonna be a fuck up and a bum, he should be doing this down in Providence.
That's exactly right. I'm not sure why this team has decided it's okay to lose a bunch of games while Tuca shakes the rust off. Can he do that down in Providence?
Yes.
No, it takes a month to get ready to play hockey. I'll tell you that right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What are we doing?
Oh no, he's country club Tuca, and he's gonna come just step right in and give up 6 goals a game.
I know, but it doesn't seem right to criticize the poor guy. I mean,
yes, it does.
No,
hey, play golf for his preseason training,
and then the Bruins should be playing him. I mean, he's going out there and he's not ready. I mean,
I don't blame Tuca. I do. If I was him, I'd do the same thing.
Last week we praised him appropriately for deciding it wasn't about the money, which is like the first athlete in the history of the world who could put his money where his mouth is and signing that contract. And now this week we get to criticize him because he's not ready to play. And he should have been saying to them, I should spend 3 weeks in Providence.
He said as much himself, except the part about playing in Providence. He said, well, it's going to take me a while to get into hockey shape. It's going to take me, say, a few weeks. Well, he shouldn't be doing it at the professional level.
All right, boys. So obviously the NHL hockey team's not going to the Olympics. The Olympics start next week, actually on my birthday, February 3rd.
Hey,
how about this? There's a kid, the goalie for the Olympic team, Drew Comesso from Hingham. He played, my son Colin played against him numerous times.
Yes.
We watched that kid grow up. He's the BU goalie. It's amazing to see a kid you watched all through Utah go to the Olympics.
Yeah, it must be cool.
They had to put that team together pretty quickly, probably because the NHL team, NHL.
Canada too.
The news on it? I don't think so. Did they can't? Did they canceled like the Junior Olympics or something? Oh, good.
Oh, because of that, yeah. All right, so guys, will you watch the Olympics?
Oh, I watched the Olympics. I love the Olympics.
Yeah, it's just it'll be weird, but it'll be good background noise.
Are we recognizing ourselves as the United States or not? I'm not sure.
I still root for the U.S.
No. But are we calling ourselves the United States? I thought we're.
Why wouldn't we be?
I wouldn't.
I'm confused.
Because Biden did something that he didn't want us to go over there. So
Well, they go as a separate entity type of thing. Are they doing that?
Oh, you
No,
mean
I
like
know,
Russia
it's
did
not-
when Russia was
No, I
being-
think no, I don't know why I heard that. I don't think they're going as I don't think they're representing.
I haven't heard that.
The Russians had to do that because Russia got banned, right?
Yeah, remember Russia had to do that in the Summer Olympics, right?
Yeah, but no one's telling them. I haven't heard it. I mean, maybe I missed it completely.
I don't know
missed
why.
it,
I
I've
mean,
got a
I
big
heard
blind spot.
something like that, and I don't know if you don't get a lot of Olympic news stuff.
Not where it's going to be in Japan. Maybe if it was in Russia, that might be true. But where it's going to be in
No,
Japan,
it's in China.
It's in China.
different.
No. It I don't know. We'll have to look that up.
That would be pretty big news, I would imagine.
No, I mean, look, the Olympics have fallen from grace dramatically since we were growing up. Olympics was must-watch TV.
Oh, it was every night glued in front of the TV for every event.
That was long before cable TV and 500 other choices.
Yeah.
They were the only thing on.
And of course, the time differences make that's very difficult because the event has already happened, and with all this media that you get during the course of the day, you're going to end up finding out who won and lost.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Remember-
Scott, I see no evidence
Remember
of
what a
that.
huge deal it used to be? The Olympics was a gigantic event for little kids. Huge.
Everyone watched.
I
Everyone.
mean, Russ, maybe that was considered, but I know Biden has spoken out against the Olympics and the whole China thing. And
Yeah, I'm sure but I see they just named the full team 2 days ago, and there was nothing about anything other than them going over to the USA.
Yeah, I saw the roster for the hockey team in the paper the other day. That man Canada.
yeah, well, they should have had Colin in it, Tim.
Well, they missed a good bet there.
Yeah. All right, well, boys, that's our show for tonight. Want to thank Ian behind the scenes. Thank you, Ian. Want to thank
Thanks,
the fellas
Ian.
and thank Colin for hanging in there riding shotgun for our boy Timmy. Throw Colin on there. Come on, let's get a Colin sighting right now. There he is. There's my boy. There he's Colin. We love that kid. All
Get
right.
to the next stop and make him hump all that ice melt out.
We're going down to meet with the UMass Dartmouth baseball coach tomorrow.
Oh, all right. Well, good luck to Colin. We know great things are going to happen for that young man. All right, please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of the Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.